Boruto chapter 57 is an interesting one that focuses on introducing us to a new character, Eida, and it does so in surprisingly extensive detail. For starters, we'd have her revealed to Code, who now upon fully seeing her was confused by the fact that Bug really disobeyed orders and preserved her. Bug would respond to this by saying it's surprising that Code even knows about Eida, and not only did he know about her, but he did not report it to Jigen. Basically saying, hey, I did wrong, but you did as well. For Code though, his defense was that he wasn't sure of his suspicions until he now saw her for himself. And plus, if Boro were to incur Jigen's wrath, it would be Code left to dispose of him, and apparently, Code, despite being so cold, doesn't have it in himself to take down a, and I quote, good-natured buddy. Bug would respond to this by calling Cap basically, and saying he bets that Code wouldn't even blink in that scenario. Who you believe is up to you, but I'm leaning towards Bug's opinion, because Code is of course loyal to the Osutsuki. But anyway, it was then time to wake up Eida. And now, in front of her, with Code, Bug would hesitate and ask Code if he's familiar with Eida's abilities. The words, "she knows everything in this world," would again be stated because that's all Code has heard about. Bug would make it clear that he doesn't know what Code has planned, nor does he really want to know, but he believes it's most likely too naive. Code was uninterested, and would just ask Bug to spill the information. And he'd begin letting Code know that he can't make Eida obey him using brute force, she's in a different class. His patience would run thin hearing this, and his hand would transform into the claws we've now seen him use to annihilate enemies previously. And Code would then slash at the container containing Eida. Code would plan to ask her of her abilities directly, and if she defies, he would simply kill her. The smoke would clear, and a figure would begin to be revealed. During this time in Konoha, there was an important meeting taking place. It was the Gokage meeting discussing the latest threat, Code. This time, however, it was basically a Zoom meeting. Funny enough, how relevant is that? The topic firstly was the matter of a Kara base. The base was revealed to be in another dimension, and despite their knowledge of transfer portals, they had no means of access due to them being destroyed or inactive. With this in mind, they planned to work with the assumption that Code knows Amato is on their side. Then there's the matter of intercepting Code and his goals, retaliating against those who destroyed Ishiki, and cultivating a divine tree from Ten Tails. The Raikage would ask the right question next. Can Amato really be trusted? Naruto's opinion personally is that he doesn't trust Amato completely, but he has provided them good information already, and so the proof is in the results. Gaara would ask about Boruto's situation with the karma next, to which Naruto would respond explaining that they're still in search of an effective solution. However, Boruto himself is doing fine. For Gaara, the Boruto situation was the biggest issue. Reason being, if Momoshiki or Boruto were to become an Ishiki level threat, would Naruto be able to take down Boruto, his own son? Naruto would pause, and then simply say that he'll do what needs to be done as Hokage. Later on, Naruto would visit Amato, who would confirm that Sasuke seemed prepared to do what's necessary if Boruto completely transformed. Naruto would confide in Amato that he's struggling to believe that Boruto could turn into a totally different person, and a brutal Osutsuki at that. Amato would then confide in Naruto too, stating that he used to have a daughter, but she died 12 years ago. Just then, he'd find something in a cabinet, a jar of pills. And with that, he'd express to Naruto that he understands Naruto just doesn't want to give up on Boruto, and that's why he's here. The pills were crafted with the aim of weakening the Byakugan's power. They were created to affect Jigen originally, because the origin of the Byakugan comes from the Osutsuki. Weakening the Byakugan might affect the transformation of Boruto's cells. Now of course, the pills could possibly have a side effect, so Amato wouldn't normally recommend this. Anyway, in the end, this is a temporary fix. It doesn't really resolve the permanent problem they have right now. Finally, he let Naruto know to be sure nobody else eats these pills, and let Naruto know to come back if he needs more. From here, Naruto would thank him and head off. And I must say, a couple things dropped in that whole situation that could be foreshadowing. For example, Amato mentioning a daughter that didn't really go anywhere, and the mention of having nobody else eat these pills. I wouldn't be surprised if either of those things, or both of them, become relevant. From here, Naruto would thank him and head off. Back to Code now, Eida would appear from the container, and let me just say boys, she is fire. Delta, Hinata, Whoever else, they don't exist anymore. Eida has arrived and she has taken the throne. Bug's face when she appears sums it up pretty good. Code would show some respect, telling her good morning and apologizing for waking her up suddenly, but she'd walk by and then be stabbed through the chest by Code. She'd look unfazed though. Code would do this using his belt-like dimension ability. The disrespect is what triggered Code here. Code would then threaten to dispose of her and she'd grin and tell him to try. Code would say that's too bad, especially since he'd went so far of his way to find her, and then go in for the kill. But something was wrong. He couldn't move. To his surprise, his hands couldn't move, or rather, they wouldn't do what he wanted them to do. Bug was surprised. Eida wasn't. Eida would apologize to Code, explaining that she wasn't ignoring him, she simply was sleeping so long and worried that she would have morning breath. Then telling Bug to take Code to the bar while she finishes up. Can't lie, that was a big boss move. She basically sunned Code right there. Anyway, Code would then at the bar say that what he did lacked class. And strangely, Code would follow up this by asking Bug if he thinks Eida is interested in him. And it gets stranger because he'd then say his heart is pounding harder the longer he waits. Meanwhile, Eida would literally be in the bathroom brushing her teeth. It would then be revealed by Bug, it's her ability. Eida has stolen Code's heart. It's the reason he wasn't able to attack earlier. Code was simply amazed. At this exact moment, Eida would reappear and overhear this, stating that it's not amazing, but overrated, overblown. Her ability to see all things in the world whenever she wants is boring. Sometimes she does see something interesting, but for the most part, she's bored. Code would ask if she's seen anything interesting recently, and she'd casually mention seeing Ishiki dying, adding that it was a pretty pathetic sight, and it made her laugh. She even saw his soul meet Code, which she listened to partly but got bored and stopped. Surprisingly, Code wouldn't say anything about her disrespect towards Ishiki, but instead would admire her power. Eida would explain that she can't see events that happened before she was born, but she can see the past and present but not the future. She did, however, predict that Code would come visit her, but that was merely female intuition. She also knew he'd want to remove the limiters on his power in order to kill Naruto and Sasuke. Eida would tell us what we already know, only Amado can remove them, doing this with his iris recognition and voice print command code. And the idea that Code could have someone else use transformation jutsu was quickly shut down because Amado's eyes have been scientifically modified and transformation jutsu can't replicate complex technology. So they either need cooperation or to take his eyes. Classic Naruto right there. Anyway, Eida would call Amado smart and then actually say she'll make sure to kill him the next time they meet. It was here confirmed that she hates Amado. Code would ask for details, but she'd retort by asking Code if he likes her. He'd play games and dodge the question, but she would press and get an answer, which was yes, he likes her. He's crazy about her and has been ever since he first saw her. Code himself wasn't sure if those feelings were genuine or not, but she'd put it simply, everyone becomes captivated by her, both men and women, no matter who they are, which was frustrating for Eida, never knowing if someone would truly like her for herself, of course because of her ability to steal hearts. Amado robbed her of ordinary love, and that is why she hates him. Bug would now begin to excuse himself, but he was stopped by Code. He was wondering about his attraction to Eida. Bug would confess it's the same for him too, but it happened a long time ago, and this was the reason Boro disobeyed Jigen and did not dispose of Eida. But now there was the question of Jigen, and it would be revealed that he was an exception. There are two types of hearts she can't steal, a blood relative's and an Asutsuki's. Kawaki would then be mentioned. Code would confirm he's incomplete, but when she saw what he did to Ishiki, her heart fluttered. Kawaki could be her shining prince. They could have a normal romance, but this was also true for Boruto as well. She'd also be okay with Code taking one for the divine tree. Bug was shook at this situation. He knew he was around some crazy people. Eida would tell Code that the Gokage conference was happening and that they're trying to search for him to stop his plan. She assured him though that they'd never catch him, because she can hear and see all. And with that, they trust each other and share a toast to their new bond and shared objectives. A pretty solid chapter of Boruto, one without Boruto himself being present actually. I'm curious if those pills will simply work without side effect or if they'll be used as some way of causing Boruto more trouble. And with that, it's so hard to read Amato. I can't tell if this man is a snake or not. I'm hoping he's not because he seems like a decent guy and I'd like to, be a fan of him as a character and have him a part of the team. But it's sketchy for sure. Lastly, we have Eida, who captures the heart of characters and fans alike. Love this new character and can't wait to see her along with the others. The villain side is pretty likable right now, honestly. With that said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like to help us out and subscribe to Plot Armor notifications on to never miss an upload. We upload almost daily and we'd love to have you join in on our discussions. And if you want to support us even further, check out our Patreon link in the description below. Until next time, keep that Plot Armor on you. I'm KJ. Have a great day. Goodbye.